All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the Data Literacy Fundamentals Q&A. We're so excited to have you all here. I am Becky Jones, and I'm the Chief Operations Officer here at Data Literacy, along with heading up Business Development. And I'm thrilled to be here with our CEO and founder and Chief Resident Data Expert. I can get that
so
correct. Ben Jones.
Hello, everyone.
Do you want to introduce yourself and give us a little background for those that don't know you?
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Ben. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. I left the business intelligence industry and the tool side of it a couple of years ago to launch dataliteracy.com, where we look to help people learn the language of data. It's such an important skill gap that exists in the world today. And so we're doing things like training sessions, also corporate assessments, hopefully a lot of free educational resources and books and things like that, just to help people get past this hurdle of, feeling not really comfortable working with data. So that's the mission we're on. And so thanks for joining. I'm excited to talk about a big launch we had last week.
Yeah, we're so excited to talk about our first on-demand launch here at Data Literacy. And so today we're here to get you excited about that and to answer all of your questions that you may have. So if you have questions, feel free to enter them into the chat section of the webinar throughout the session today. We have a list that we've already received, so we'll go through those. If your question is not addressed, we'll try to address those at the end. We'll be providing links as well to various topics so that you can have references. So with that, let's kick this off. First and foremost, Ben, give us the backstory of why this course and why now.
Why this course? So it's interesting. When I first left Tableau, actually, great company, great tool. I felt like my introductory offering was going to be helping people work with raw data. And the more I started to interact with companies, I started to realize that there was even something more basic than that needed. People didn't really know what data was or how it applied to them. And I was a little surprised by that, but I think it makes sense. Most of us, even those of us with an engineering background, didn't really receive a formal education that prepared us for this world that's awash in data. And so we started to go back to the drawing board and figure out what would be an even better introductory course to help all those people out there that are what we call data phobic. And so that's why we designed and came up with this course. And I've just come to discover that it's a really important and compelling need. So that's sort of the backstory of it. And let's see what else. It really was a kind of a going back to basics for me too. So really just asking myself, what really matters? What are the most important topics and concepts that someone just getting started would need to understand and feel good about? And so in that sense, it was kind of nice for me to go back in my own mind through my own personal data journey to think about those sorts of moments where I had those aha experiences where it started to dawn on me what data was all about and why it could be useful for me, for my team, even beyond just the corporate environment to like the society we live in and maybe my personal life or my family life. So those are things I try to incorporate into the course as well to make it a little more interesting and personable.
Awesome, and I can attest to being one of those data phobic individuals as well as Ben well knows, and I can attest to the content of the course, and it's definitely helping to build my confidence for sure around the foundations of data literacy. So Ben, tell us a little bit more about the learning objectives and how that can help someone and where they can take it.
Let me share my screen real quick here. So learning objectives, right? So we always want to think, well, what is the goal? What is it that a learner would want to accomplish as they step into the course? And so if I share my screen here, you'll see that the primary goal really is to demystify data. Since so many are feeling overwhelmed by the idea of data, the goal is to just bring it out of this realm of something that feels so foreign. And so in order to do that, we need to cover some important concepts, the vocabulary of data, the ideas and the concepts, how they incorporate into teamwork, also purposes of data. What is it that we can accomplish using data? How can we bring that together with other aspects of our team's experience or our own maybe personal intuition in order to combine these together into a clear vision of a path forward, maybe decisions that we apply. So really the goal is just to help people become more confident that they have what it takes to understand the basic elements of data, what a variable is and the different kinds, as we'll talk about also as we go through the outline of the course. But just to become familiar with data and what it is and why we want to use it. That's my main goal for the course.
Great. And then tell us a little bit more about the outline, what the topics are covered in the course. What are we learning here?
Cool. I'll stay in the screen share then. Yeah, so these 8 topics are how we walk through the course. So really, we designed it to be memorable in the sense that you can see the first topic on the list is the one overall goal of data. The second topic is the 2 systems of thinking. And you can see the pattern. The third topic is the 3 domains of application. So in this sense, you kind of remember the topics in the outline, and they'll stick a little better. I'll never forget my freshman year of college at UCLA in engineering school. A professor taught us a trick to remember faces or names, and it involved this kind of, I guess they call it a mnemonic device, right? So you can kind of, in your mind, connect a list with items. So that was the goal, to make it sticky and memorable. So topics, right? The overall goal of data being developing wisdom, being able to make better decisions and apply information and knowledge in new ways. To the 2 systems of thinking. This picks up on some really groundbreaking research done by Daniel Kahneman, his partner Amos Tversky, and others, to understand the different ways we use our minds, our intuitive gut take reactions, the more analytical approaches we take, and how these don't necessarily need to be polar opposites that are mutually exclusive, but actually 2 powerful aspects of ourselves that we can bring together into a more cohesive approach. In the third lesson, I talk about the 3 domains of application. You know, so many people, when they come to these courses, when I talk to them, they're really thinking about their jobs, their career, their profession, but I try to break them out of that and help them understand that data is applicable in other aspects of life as well. What about the communities we live in and the types of challenges that they may face? We've seen a lot of that lately in the news. What about some of the global crises that we're facing? These are all aspects and areas of life in which data is incredibly applicable and powerful. Even also on the personal, down to like the individual N of 1, right? I have issues, I have challenges I'm facing as a person, maybe fitness goals, financial goals. Data is highly relevant to those domains as well. And so in that sense, you know, it kind of breaks us out of this maybe limited view that all of my data skills are really just to help me in my career. Certainly it is. It's not to be taken lightly, but there's other things we can do with that as well. And then we go on getting those 3 first lessons, they're really all about mindset. They're really more about helping me think about data and what is its place and how does it apply. But then we get really nitty-gritty into the details, hands-on. What's a variable? What's the difference between, you know, different ways we measure things and quantify things and categorize these different aspects of the world all around us? And that's in the 4th lesson. And the 5th is a really important one where we think about ways we analyze it. Maybe we're just trying to understand something that's happening, or maybe we're trying to diagnose something below the surface, or even predicting something coming down the road. So these are all ways we use data in different forms of analysis. I love the 6th lesson, the 6 ways of displaying data, because having been in a visual analytics company for many years, I'm really passionate about charts and graphs and how they just like bring the data to life in front of us. And so I try to illustrate how the different ways of displaying data can be thought of, combined maybe in instances to bring a more holistic understanding of what's there. 7, we talk about, thankfully, we don't need to know it all and do it all. We're on teams that complement our skills and abilities. So what are the types of activities that a team might go through as they try to convert this raw material into insight and decisions? So, you know, whether you're doing the building of the data source itself, or maybe extracting insights or presenting that and telling a compelling data story, we talk about those activities. So you can really pinpoint, hey, what is my current main contribution in this kind of really like a value flow of data. And then lastly, we end with the beginning. What are the things I should be asking before I even get started? You know, we know data is inherently biased and limited. We know we need to consider the source and where it came from. There's so many other aspects we need to really be thinking carefully about as we encounter data, you know, mostly to avoid some of the common pitfalls we fall into. So that would be the final clincher, where we really give you a concrete list of questions for you to check off as you approach a data set. So there we go. That's the outline. That's the agenda and the course topics that are included in this. I've never seen anything like this. You know, I was really excited when it came out. when we put it together, because I feel like it's super important, whether you're on step one of your data journey or whether you're already a practitioner and need to go back and lay maybe a more firm foundation. I think this does it, and I don't think I've seen it elsewhere. So that's why I'm excited about the course and what it's all about.
We definitely didn't go light, as you can see. There's lots of content.
Yeah.
It's almost 4 hours of video content within the entire course. So lots in there. Great. Help us understand what the learners will get along with the course, in addition to just taking all of the content materials.
So what do we get? So as you mentioned, Becky, we've got these 8 lessons. Those are broken up into 34 topics. Each topic has its own video. It's about 6 to 7 minutes in length. So, bite-size approach there. In the lessons, you've got also a worksheet with exercises. There is actually an overarching workbook course project. So I wanted to make it really hands-on so people could do something as they went through the lessons to apply the topics and ideas to their own data set that they bring together. And so there's that, also workbook. They also get this book right here that just came out, Data Literacy Fundamentals, that is a companion to the course itself. So they get a digital copy of that. The paper book is available to purchase on Amazon and Google Play and other places, but along with the course, you get a free copy of the digital book. Let's see, well, there's quizzes that help you demonstrate your knowledge and comprehension of each and every lesson. And I think that pretty much covers
it. And a certificate at the end.
Yes, they definitely do get that. So when you're all done, we know that, when you invest your own time and funds into these courses, into your own personal development, well, you want to be able to show that to your current employer, to be able to demonstrate your knowledge, maybe a potential employer. And so I'll show you a quick little sample of what that looks like. There's, upon completion of the course, you immediately get fundamentals training course completion certificate with your name on it, with the date you finished it all up, and my signature on there too. So then you can put that, in LinkedIn. You can add that to your bio and such. And it's just really important, as we have a journey we're all on of developing ourselves, to be able to keep track of that and demonstrate that. So we get that too.
Great. And then one thing everyone loves to learn about is how can they save money? So tell us about any discounts and offerings that we currently have.
Yeah, so along with the course, we're launching, this is the month of August, so all the way through the month of August, we are using a code DATAFUN10. So 10% off, right? Anybody who purchases the course gets that discount. But also, I think everyone here that joined the actual live webinar would have joined our distribution list and would have gotten an email giving them a subscriber's special discount of 20%. So if you didn't get that, contact us and we'll let you know. So those are, so the DATAFUN10, this goes through the launch month of August. The subscribers one goes all the way through the end of the year in case you're waiting for tuition reimbursement approval or something like that. So so those are some discounts we're throwing out there to people to try to bring that cost down a little bit.
Great. And then can people who are interested in the course take a trial or sample lesson to test it out and see what it's all about?
Yeah, we felt that it was really, a big part of the mission of the company is to help everyone, no matter whether they can afford the training or not. So also we understand some people want to get a feel or a flavor for the course, get a sense of if it's for them or not. So if you go to the course page, and we'll include that link here in the chat, you can just dive right in and take the first lesson. And this is the one called the One Overall Goal of Data. And it incorporates sort of this DIKW pyramid of ascending from raw, maybe useless, meaningless data, all the way up this pyramid into actually like actionable insights we can put into motion and decisions. And so we have a video on each one of those layers of the triangle. And so that's a free open course for anyone. You don't even have to sign in, you can just take it. The only thing about that is actually for our learning management system, which we just launched along with this course, in order to take the quiz, you need to be signed in. So that's the only piece of the first lesson that they can't do, is at the very end take the quiz. But all the videos, all the materials, all the pages that go along with it for lesson one are just out there for anyone.
And I just put that link in the chat, so feel free to click on that if you'd like to look into the first lesson and see what it's all about. So next, what about my corporate team? So if you're part of a team or an organization, which many of us are, how can they go about getting the course for their team or their entire organization?
It's really important for us to be able to accommodate learners coming from different angles. So in order to do that, we worked with the development team to create SCORM, for those of you who understand that, as well as what's called Tin Can, or the XAPI, newer version of a course package to be able to upload directly into your own learning management system at your corporation. There's a variety of them, but those standard packages typically allow your training and development team in your company to just drop them right in to your own LMS, learning management system. And so that's certainly something we made available from the get-go. For those that don't have the backing of a big company deploying this en masse, we have our own learning management system right here on our site. And that's actually we love it. It's a really cool platform we've been able to work with and build and deploy. And so, you can also just, kind of go through our own system online if you don't kind of have that employer backing sort of a scenario. But, certainly, yeah, we do make that available for companies and organizations. Government agencies are already using it. Big companies already, uploading it into their systems. So that's definitely within the realm of possibility.
Great, and it looks like there might be some chat disconnect, so you might want to try putting those links in.
Yeah.
I put them into all panelists, but it looks like mine aren't showing up. So
let me do that. All right, yeah. Okay, so this is the courses where you can click right here to get, I see, yeah, so it's to panelists. Can you switch there and see?
Oh, sorry.
There we go, to everyone.
And attendees.
And it's defaulting to panelists, so we're messaging each other these awesome links back and forth. So now it's going to everyone.
So there's the first link.
I did the same thing.
To the lesson, and then here's the link for Teams.
Can everybody see that now? Just out of curiosity, is that showing up? If someone wants to pop into the chat and let us know if they can see it.
Perfect.
Okay, good.
Great. So now you should have both links, and on the link that we sent about the teams, if you're part of a team, the link that we sent out, just click for Teams on that page, and it'll take you to a nice little pop-up. You can fill that out, and then we'll reach out to you and discuss further how that would look for your team. Great.
Cool.
And then back to our questions. So will there be any more on-demand courses after fundamentals?
Yeah, so this is the first of 4 of our core course offerings that we're putting out there. And there'll be more to come after that, more like nuanced and maybe specific to certain kinds of scenarios. But let me share my screen and kind of give you a sense of what's next. So after fundamentals, in fact, we're already working right now on level 1. And so, we kind of think, again, fundamentals to us is that core foundation that really is kind of necessary to get anywhere with data. But very soon after it's imperative for every one of us that we are fluent at reading and interpreting charts and graphs. I mean, we come across visuals, data visualizations, dashboards, pretty much every day now. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, doesn't matter what department you're in or what role you have, you're coming across visual data definitely weekly, if not daily. And so level 1, we focus on that core concept of how do I make sense of all these visuals around me? Chart types, what's the difference between a bar chart and a pie chart and a line chart, a number of other chart types that are so common and important for us to be familiar with. Also the building blocks of those charts. What are the ways data is being encoded in those charts so that you really get the really nuanced understanding of that, to make you feel like when you come across a chart or a graph, hey, I know I've got what it takes to dive into it, to explore it, see what it's telling me, know maybe if there's something it's not telling me that I need to go back to the person who created it. So it's all from the point of view of someone consuming a visual created by someone else. But that's why we switched to level 2, stepping up in the staircase, because eventually we need to be able to roll up our sleeves and work with raw data ourselves. It's just so easy for someone to have made a mistake along the way, preparing the data or analyzing it, that, in order for us to really be highly fluent in the language of data, we need to take data and convert it into insight ourselves, see what's there, dive into it, convert it from its raw form into insights and wisdom. So that's level 2. And in level 3, we talk about 2 really specific forms of communication, which are dashboards and data stories. Now, a dashboard, if you think about it, I take multiple views and I put them around the same place next to each other. So multiple views in the same physical space. Data stories are a little different. We still take multiple views. Now we space them out in time, like in a sequence, in a story, in a narrative arc. And so there's an art to being able to create a story like that, that's interesting, that's compelling, that takes your audience on a journey, leaves them feeling enlightened, and ultimately helps you achieve your objective, which is to most likely move them to take action. And so that's that third and final level around some of these more sophisticated forms of communication. So these are the ones that are coming. Level 1, we're working on, you'll see it in the fall. Level 2 in the winter, level 3 in the spring, pretty much quarterly releases from here on out.
Great. And what's something surprising or quirky that people might find about the fundamentals course we've created?
You know, I am a big believer in seeing the different aspects of the world, not just from a purely like data-centric point of view. In other words, I try to incorporate the liberal arts into the course. There's quotes from T.S. Eliot, and you'll see a little bit of the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin, and some of my data heroes, like maybe some you'll be familiar with and know, like William Playfair and Florence Nightingale, but others you may not have heard of, like Mary Eleanor Spear. So I try to kind of take the historical view, but also branch out and look at it from a more fun and interesting kind of humanities or like liberal arts aspect as well, just to, again, kind of bring data into its context as one of the tools we have at our disposal. But the arts are so rich as well, and I think that there's a overlap there between data and art, and so I'd like to be able to find a way to introduce people to that. So maybe you expect a lot of the basics and you get that, like what is a variable and how do I analyze, what does analysis look like and all that. But also you're going to see poetry in there. You're going to see quotes from Eastern religious sources like the Upanishads and stuff like that, that again, I probably aren't what you would expect to see. But also I think that those unexpected moments and tie-ins, at least for me, are these like learning moments where there's this kind of spark that goes off because I make some kind of a connection and it just sticks a little more. And also I think just kind of, connects us to the human side of data, which is so important to do from the onset. So that might not be what people will be expecting when they dive in and take the course.
So great, thank you for that. And we have one question left that we already had sent in advance. And so if you have more questions, feel free to keep adding those into the chat. So we'll stick with this last question, and then I'll look in the chat here in a second to see what else you might have. Feel free to type those in now. Where and how can someone sign up? Obviously, one of the most important points. How do they find the course online?
Yeah. So if you go to our website, dataliteracy.com, pretty easy to remember there. You'll see the training tab at the top, and you can just click on the first drop down within there. I'll just share my screen. I don't think I'm doing that right now. So let me share my screen. And so, we're right there within the training tab up at the top right here. You can go into data literacy fundamentals. Now, if you're looking to take it yourself, then you can just click on this, for you. That's the training class that's for an individual who just wants to take it themselves. And they click on that. That takes them to the product page, and they can go ahead and purchase it $3.99 with their discount. They can put in there too. Also wanted to note too, though, that we've included the option to pay in 4 installments instead of all upfront to try to kind of spread out and blend that over time. So that's an element too there. You can pay a deposit or upfront. And so that's one way to kind of go ahead and purchase it. And again, as you mentioned, Becky, right, if you're actually part of a team and you want to incorporate this into your corporation, click on For Your Team. That'll drop you into a little contact us form. And then we'll go about getting in touch with you, finding out what kind of format you're looking for, finding out, kind of the number of people, helping you become aware of some of those discounts for larger groups that come along with it. So those are the ways you can get started right now. And we can drop the link into that.
Yep, I just put that in there.
Cool.
So feel free to check that out. And then we do have a question from someone here, and it looks like the question is, if I make my employees participate in the program and complete all of the courses, what is the best way to measure success? Not by 100% participation or 80% satisfaction, but actually the business value that is achieved through that. Great question.
Yeah. So, right, if I just say, well, X percentage of people finish the course, like I think this question indicates, that's sort of a poor measure of how well this helped them or us or anything. And we heard that a lot in our very first year of operation. People saying, how do we track progress? How do I know if this is working? How do I know what's changing? So in response to that, first of all, I think it's a very complex answer because ultimately you're trying to look at your business outcomes themselves. But in order to get in between the participation rate and the moving the needle on the business, in between we've come up with what we call the data literacy score team-based assessment. And so the way this works is we administer a survey to your team. They answer a number of questions that get to not just the data side of it, but it's a very, again, kind of incorporates a number of different angles, and you can see it. Let me share my screen here to give you a better sense of this assessment that we've launched that I think helps get to the bottom of this exact question, which is this thing helping me or working? And so your team is going to be given the opportunity to score your own team, which however you want to define that. It could be a small team, it could be a department or an organization, where we try to go through these 7 categories of questions. 7 questions in each of the 7 categories, 49, plus a 50th overarching question about your team's ability to make effective use of data. So the training is ideally, what its purpose is to give the individual that comfort level, also to help your team make more effective use of data. Since think of it like your team is like a bunch of pillars are the individuals in the team holding up a pier or a building. Well, each one of them, the strength of each one of them contributes to the strength of the overall foundation. And so the way we get to what is the strength of the team's foundation is by going through this assessment. So, ethics, right? So important. Are we using data for harm or for good? Technology, what are the tools available to me? Do I have access to them? Can I get trained on how to use them? What about the processes? I mean, we may learn a lot about data, but how do we make decisions as the team? How do we carry forward our activities and processes? And is data a core part of that? Culture, is this embedded into our DNA? Are there ongoing kind of connection opportunities for me across the different areas of the organization to be able to connect and learn more about data? So these are all part of this assessment that we administer before, during, after, however you want to structure that. It's sort of a separate standalone piece. You don't have to do it. You can do it all by yourself without the training if you already have your own program up and running. And so I would recommend you check out the data literacy score, see if that makes sense. It's right up there at the top of the nav under the assessment tab, and you can see it right there. You can just fill that out, and we'll get in touch with you and see about setting up a discovery call. Now, what it does is it puts your team into one of these 5 maturity stages. Either your data novices, that's for a score of 0 to 99. Okay, then we're going to walk on up, right? Data aspiring, data inclined, data focused, ultimately data wise is when we have an organization that's hitting on all cylinders. The team feels confident that they're making effective use of data. And so ultimately, for me, this is how we help you answer a really important question that I think you also have to sort of answer for yourself, which is, how is this helping us better service our customers, better compete in the marketplace, better attract and retain talent? All those questions that I think are the organization's purview to be able to answer. We come in and assist. Now, we don't just give you a score. We also ask qualitative questions. How do people think and feel? What are the challenges? What are the strengths? And then we distill that into some responses that you can get a sense of major themes we're hearing, as well as our own recommendations attached to that if you want. Now, those are also optional elements to add to the assessment so that you have a pretty low price offering, just quantitative score, and then you can pay for these extra elements where we kind of more weigh in on our take about what we think, based on what we're hearing, would be a good next set of steps to incorporate into your team's overall data literacy path that you're on.
And then to repeating the assessment 6 or 12 months later after some of your data literacy initiatives go into effect, you can kind of measure that success and your upward movement on that ladder once you've had some of those courses or trainings that you've done internally. So it's a good benchmark for before and after. Yeah,
I mean, to get a one-off, sure, there's value there, but I think the true value, and this is why we give discounts for people doing it on a regular cadence, that you get to see how things are trending, right? And what areas might be popping up as hotspots for you to look at next. So yeah, the goal, I think the ideal approach there would be to do maybe even just annually, something like that, where you kind of gauge your progress as you go through.
Great. And I don't see any additional questions that have come in. If anyone does have any, feel free, don't be shy, type them in right now. Otherwise, Ben, is there anything else you'd like to add as we close out today?
Oh yeah, so it looks like one more question. You know, no, so the question is, can I measure my own data literacy level through the score? No, no, right. Yeah, we're gonna come up with an individual, we're kind of in the engine room building an individual assessment. But this one really that we have at this point in time out there is more for teams collectively. Because the questions themselves are geared toward the team and the team functionality. And again, the one that we're working on for individuals would be more geared toward you. I will say though, there is one thing that we have out there for someone trying to assess their own level of data literacy. So when we first launched the business, we put a book out there called 17 Key Traits of Data Literacy. Now, you can find this free ebook. It's only 25 pages, so it's a real quick read. It's almost more like a magazine article. And if you go to dataliteracy.com and scroll to the bottom, there's a little place for you to get that in your inbox, 17 Key Traits of Data Literacy, okay? So what does this do? This walks me through the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and behaviors that someone who's highly data literate possesses, displays. And so you'll see all of those. So 17 is a long list, but we break it down into these 4 categories to help you group them and think about them in a way that helps you remember them. Knowledge, skills, attitudes, behaviors. Knowledge, what do I know? Concepts, skills, what can I actually do? Attitudes, how do I think and feel about data? Behaviors, how can I be depended upon to act week in and week out as I work with an organization or a team? So first, you can read about them and what they are. But we didn't want to just make it like a book to read, right? So then what you can also do, and I'll put the link right here in the chat as well, is, so I love Tableau Public. You know, it's a platform I had a chance to work on for many years. So what we did is, and I'll just pull it up right here, is we put together a self-assessment dashboard for you to go along with that book. Now, what does this mean? Well, as I go through each of these 17 traits, you can see them here on the left. Let me share my screen again. So I've got this popped up right now. So as I go through the 17 traits in the book, again, the question really there is saying, well, let me just close this out here. How proficient am I right now in each one of these 17 traits, 1 through 17? And this is out there, right? So let me just drop this link in. You can use this right now. You can send this to your team right now, and anyone can use it. But the goal there would be to say, all right, you know, how proficient am I today? Let's say I feel, for example, when it comes to data visualization rules of thumb. I was really lucky to work for Tableau for so many years, so I feel like I get really grounded in data viz and how it works. So I'm going to put proficiency way up there. And then I'm going to say, that actually this is really critical for me right now. Maybe I'm in a role where I need to make charts and graphs. That's for the executives, for the whole company, or they're going on our website. I'm the one making them or designing them. So super important for me to be able to be knowledgeable about that exact topic. So now what that will do is it'll put this 4th trait up here in what I call the sweet spot. So this is high importance, high proficiency. Awesome, so that's up there, right? I'm really doing well there. I need to be doing well there. It's in the quadrant I want it to be. But maybe, let's say we lose an amazing data engineer on my team. Now all of a sudden everybody says to me, hey Ben, we sort of need you to do this, kind of rolling up the sleeves, building the data sources and all that. And I'll say, well, okay, well now I have a problem because maybe I don't know much about these data storage methods. Is it in the cloud? Is it on premises? Is it a hybrid? What is it, a warehouse? Is it a data lake? Oh my gosh, I need to learn that. So I'm not that proficient in data storage methods. I'll score that low. But it all of a sudden became really important to me. I'll pop that up there to high importance. Now, number 2, data storage methods just became a growth opportunity for me in this quadrant in the top left. High importance, low proficiency. I need to seek out opportunities for me to really educate myself about that exact topic. And you can see the other ways you'll drop some of these different traits. So that's what we have right now for individuals. I love it. I think it's fun to kind of, really hone in on what you feel like you need to be doing. It's a self-assessment, right? So it's all about what you're aware of right now. And so in that sense, it's maybe limited in what you know. So that's why this other assessment we're working on is a little more objective. But in any case, this is kind of where we're at today, and I hope would be helpful for you to get started on that. that path.
Great. Well, it looks like that is wrapping up all of our questions for today. As you can see, we have lots of exciting things coming in the near future, along with this course that we currently have available to you today. So look for that subscriber code in your inbox. Again, if you don't have it, feel free to reach out to us. The best way to contact us would probably be through sales@dataliteracy.com. So if you do have questions, feel free to use that email alias and reach out to us, and we'll be happy to address them. Any closing thoughts on your end?
No, but give me a high five.
High five. We're excited to see you guys in the course and looking forward to helping you on your data literacy education journey.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. Appreciate it. Thanks, Becky.
Have a great day.
Bye,
Take care.
Ryan.